Imagine two people starting the same job on the same Monday. Same age, same salary, same rent, same city, even the same expensive taste in Friday night takeout. Every 2 weeks, exactly $1,900 lands in each bank account. But 5 years later, one of them has savings, investments, and room to breathe. The other is still counting the days until payday. No lottery win, no secret inheritance, no six-figure side hustle. The difference began with a gap so small, it barely looked important. And that gap is the key to escaping the paycheck-to-paycheck trap. Meet Rich Stick and Poor Stick. They are both 25, work for the same company, and take home $3,800 a month. Their basic monthly costs are identical: $1,250 for rent, $250 for utilities and a phone, $450 for groceries, $350 for transport, and $400 for insurance and minimum debt payments. That is $2,700 before either of them has had fun, bought clothes, ordered dinner, or dealt with a surprise. So on paper, each has $1,100 left. That sounds comfortable. But money on paper and money in real life are not the same thing. Poor Stick sees $1,100 available. Rich Stick eventually learns to see $1,100 as a set of jobs waiting to be assigned. At first, Poor Stick is not reckless. That matters. There is a streaming subscription here, a rideshare there, a birthday dinner, 2 food deliveries, and a small online purchase after a stressful day. None of those decisions looks dangerous alone. But the spending expands until it fills the entire $1,100. Then a $320 car repair arrives 3 days before payday. Poor Stick does what millions of people do. The repair goes on a credit card, and next month begins with yesterday's expense already waiting. Now the next paycheck is not funding the future, it is cleaning up the past. That is the trap. Income arrives, old obligations swallow it, and credit carries the gap until the cycle repeats. It is tempting to turn this into a lecture about coffee, but the real story is bigger. In a 2026 Bank of America study, 42% of Gen Z adults said they were living paycheck to paycheck. In a separate Intuit survey, 44% of Gen Z cited that struggle as their top financial concern. High rent, transport, food, insurance, debt, and slow wage growth can squeeze even careful people. And Deloitte found that 55% of Gen Z were delaying major life decisions because of their financial situation. So this is not about pretending everyone can budget their way out of an income problem. But when there is any margin at all, the order in which money moves can decide whether that margin disappears or grows. Rich Stick's escape does not begin with a perfect spreadsheet. It begins with $95. On payday, before the balance can feel spendable, Rich Stick automatically moves $95 into a separate emergency account that happens twice a month, $190 monthly, just 5% of take-home pay. Rich Stick then sets aside $210 for irregular costs, repairs, annual fees, gifts, and medical expenses. That leaves $700 for eating out, hobbies, clothes, and everything else that makes life enjoyable. Rich Stick is not living like a monk. Rich Stick has simply stopped asking, what is left at the end of the month? The new question is, what must leave first so the month cannot take it? The system Rich Stick uses has 4 steps. Step 1. Find the real gap. Look at the last 3 months of bank and card statements. Separate essentials, commitments, and choices. Do not guess. The goal is not guilt, it is visibility. Step 2. Protect a starter buffer. Automate a small amount on payday, even if it is only $25. Aim first for $500, then 1 month of essential expenses. A buffer turns emergencies back into expenses instead of debts. Step 3. Break the calendar problem. Monthly bills and bi-weekly paychecks do not always cooperate. Keep a bills account. Move half of the monthly bill total from each paycheck and build toward being 1 paycheck ahead. Step 4. Widen the gap. Cut the costs that give little value, renegotiate bills, use employer benefits, pay down high-interest debt, and raise income where possible. A cancelled subscription helps once, a pay increase helps every month. The order matters, visibility creates a gap, automation protects it, a buffer absorbs shocks. Higher income and lower debt make the escape faster. After 12 months, Rich Stick has moved $2,280 into emergency savings and $2,520 into sinking funds. Some of the sinking fund money has been used, of course. That is its job. The car repair does not disappear from Rich Stick's life. It simply stops becoming a crisis. Poor Stick earned exactly the same amount during the year, but several surprises went onto the credit card. Interest joined the monthly bills, and each payday now carries more weight. The difference is not that Rich Stick avoided life. Rich Stick prepared for life. And once the emergency fund is strong enough, part of that $190 can begin moving into long-term investments. The small gap starts buying time, not just safety. But what if you review everything and there is genuinely nothing left? Then the problem is not discipline, it is mathematics. Start with the biggest levers, not the smallest pleasures: housing, transport, debt interest, insurance, taxes, and income. Could you change a housing arrangement when the lease ends, refinance, or consolidate expensive debt carefully? Claim an employer match or benefit you are missing. Ask for a raise with evidence. Apply for a better paid role. Add temporary income with a clear target and end date. Not every option is easy, immediate, or available to everyone. But a structural deficit needs a structural solution. Cutting one coffee will not repair a budget that is short by $600. The numbers must be honest enough to tell you which problem you actually have. 5 years after that first $95 transfer, Rich Stick and Poor Stick may still have the same salary on paper, but their financial lives no longer feel identical. Poor Stick's money is already promised before it arrives. Rich Stick's money arrives with choices attached. That is the real definition of escaping paycheck to paycheck, not becoming rich overnight, but creating enough distance between earning and spending that one bad week does not control the next 6 months. Start with the smallest gap you can protect. Automate it. Build the buffer. Then widen the gap. Because financial freedom rarely arrives as one giant leap. Most of the time, it begins with one paycheck that you finally stop spending in advance. If you found this video helpful, give it a like. Subscribe for more stories that help you build wealth, one smart decision at a time. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next episode of Rich Stick, Poor Stick.